council members. Thank you. I'll try to keep this focused and brief. We wanted to come back and give you an update on some further questions that were raised regarding the proposed no solicitation zone for downtown. And I've got, if you show the next slide. As Amy mentioned, we did take into account what council had asked us to look at on a number of issues, including Acacia Park. We do have Acacia Park in the current proposed draft ordinance. We've done research to find that other towns have done that, although they've been very focused. They do not include all parks. They only include those parks that are tied into a particular economic center or a particular economic hub. The examples that might be most relevant for us were Key West, Florida, Mobile, Alabama, Indianapolis, Dallas. There's a few of those where the central park in the downtown economic zone has been included. So that's what we've done with Acacia Park. We're looking at loitering issues right now. It appears that we do not actually have an adult loitering ordinance. I think we have a loitering ordinance that is used primarily to deal with underage individuals, teens and folks under 18 who are in places they may not have permission to be, or who seem to be out after hours. It's almost like kind of keeping an eye on the young people and then being able to use that loitering ordinance to contact parents or guardians to make sure that they're in the right place. I did a little bit of research on loitering issues, and I've checked with police associations around the country. They find that loitering ordinances are not a very effective tool in dealing with the problems we have, because loitering generally, it's very difficult to actually enforce or write a ticket. What it does is it gives you a tool to get someone up and moving along. So you have someone who's sitting there, you say, please get up and keep moving. They move until they're out of sight or until you're out of sight, and then they'll sit right back down again. And so you can spend all day chasing them up and down the block all around the street, and it doesn't really get you where you need to be, which is, so no solicitation zone is a much more effective tool that both police associations and police consultants as well as towns, we've been told, have found the no solicitation zone much more effective. Street musicians, we are looking into whether or not we can develop a permitting structure for street musicians. And I'll have some more for you. We don't have it ready for you now. We'll have some more for you when we come back October 9th. There is a possibility we could develop something that would allow more activity that's really cultural or activity that adds to the life of the downtown. Like street musicians, I think we're going to look at that in terms of permitting and how you manage that process. Charitable solicitation, the question was, if there's a no solicitation zone, can we allow Girl Scouts or the Salvation Army, even though we're banning solicitation? And generally, we're looking into that. Generally, other towns have found that if you allow charitable solicitation on private property, in the doorstep of the business, or I mentioned, I think the last time, King Soopers, most neighborhoods outside of downtown, you'll find the bell ringers and you'll find the Girl Scouts and the Cub Scouts and those sort of solicitations actually in a supermarket or in a store on private property. And so there are opportunities downtown in private property for that kind of activity to occur, but we are going to look and see if there are ways to segregate out charitable solicitation and permit it in a no solicitation zone. Again, the key in all of this is the legal analysis and what the courts have permitted. And if you get into content regulation, or you start to make an ordinance that looks and feels like an ordinance that is comfortable and allows certain content, but then wants to restrict other content, you immediately will be pulled into a much higher legal scrutiny, and then almost certainly that ordinance will be struck down as unconstitutional. So that's the challenge we have. It is